Hello and welcome back to the channel on our continuing voyage to become better blues players. My name's Mark and we are partway through a series of learning how to improvise over a blues chord progression, improvising the style of blues. And I think we're up to about, this will be lesson number 8 now in that series. And we've kind of hit a milestone in the series. We're about halfway through and we've kind of covered all the basics up to now. And so the lessons from here on in are more, well, the next set are intermediate. So how can you improve your improvisations? So I thought this would be an ideal opportunity to kind of just stop for a second, take stock of where we're at, recap over everything we've covered so far, and then set some exercises so that you really kind of have something ground into your playing, so that you're really at the stage where you're able to go on to that next section. Okay, so if we think about all the lessons we've had so far, we started with the most, what obviously seems the most basic piece of advice, but actually out of everything we've covered so far, I'd say it's probably the most crucial thing, and that is just being able to tap your foot in time with the backing track. So the backing track goes, you're tapping your foot in time, and it keeps you locked in sync with the backing track. One of the most common questions I get asked on my channel is about timing and how you're able to play with a backing track and keep time and everything. Actually, that's the most important, most crucial thing, being able to tap your foot and lock in. So that was number one. We looked at the difference between playing over a shuffle and being able to play over a straight 4/4 blues, how they feel, how they make you adjust your playing slightly. We looked at the techniques of blues players. We looked at slides, bends, hammer-ons and pull-offs, vibrato, those kind of things. How to make your playing the individual notes, how to make individual notes sound more bluesy. We looked at box position 1 and box position 2, and how you move those. Box position 1 and 2 of the A minor pentatonic. Up to now, everything's been in A minor, so we were looking at minor pentatonic. We looked at focusing just on the root notes, so being able to move as the chord progression moves around the 12-bar blues, move with it and adjust your playing for each chord. We started off originally just focusing on the root note of A for the whole thing, and then, as I say, we've then moved on to actually being able to move that root note around with the chords. We then took a couple of lessons looking at how you mix major and minor pentatonics. So first part of that was being able to play a major pentatonic lick followed by a minor pentatonic lick. And major pentatonic, now we're going to stop and do minor pentatonic. And then part 2 was how you kind of weave that all into one, so you can you've got all of those notes at your disposal and you can dial in a little bit more of major pentatonic when you want some sweetness, and then you can dial more over to the minor pentatonic when you want a bit more sour, and how you play that, and the rules around you can only do that on the root note chord. You have to be very careful using those major pentatonic notes over the other chords in the progression. We looked at the difference between a minor blues and a dominant blues, and how that major minor tweak is only applicable to dominant blues and not applicable to minor blues. Or else have we looked at? We've looked at applying that then to different keys. So the last lesson I posted was about how you learn the whole fretboard, or have a way of easily navigating around the fretboard. You're never going to memorize every note, but you can have methods and systems to get you to a particular place that you want to be. So for example, if I said play in the key of C, that you could easily locate your C root note on your D string, and then from there play around there, find where the minor pentatonic is there, and basically get very comfortable playing in that place. So we're going to take a break of basically about a week before the next lesson, which is going to be the first in the kind of the intermediate level. And what we're going to do is, in that time, I want you to practice certain things. So I want you to make sure you've got all of this, everything we've covered so far, all of those foundations really bedded down and into your playing. Not just that you watched the video and you kind of heard it go in, you thought about it a little bit, but actually get it into your playing, get it into your fingers so it kind of becomes second nature. That's going to be really key for moving on to the next section now, where we're talking about improving our improvisation. So I'm basically going to set you a little bit of homework. I want you to practice 12-bar blues in various keys so that you can find your way around the neck. You can easily locate which key you're going to play in, different tempos, different beats, and also mixing, playing 12-bar blues, 12-bar minor blues, so where you're just restricted to the minor notes, and playing dominant blues where you can, if you want to, switch between major and minor. I will put a playlist attached to this video. In fact, I'll probably try and put a little card up or something so you can actually click on the video here and get access to the playlist. And the playlist is going to be a whole set of YouTube videos that are 12-bar blues. As I say, different keys, different beats, different tempos that are going to challenge your playing a little bit. And we're going to focus on playing in A and E because they are the two most common keys that you're going to ever play blues in. But it's also going to feature C, D, and G, because occasionally we play in those as well. I mentioned this in the last video. If you play with jazz musicians on the jazzier side of the blues, get used to playing in B flat as well. I'm not going to include those in this particular playlist, but if that's your bag, that's the musicians that you normally play with are jazz musicians, then actually go out and seek out some backing tracks in B flat and F, because jazz musicians seem to like those a lot. Okay, so also as we're kind of at this stage where we've kind of covered all the basics, all the beginner stuff, please let me know how you're getting on. Drop me an email, drop me a comment on this video. Just let me know how you're getting on, if this has been useful, if you've got questions, if there's things I've covered that you haven't quite got for any reason. Ask me a question. I'll try and go over that and cover some things. So I'm going to leave you now with me improvising, and this is just like an example of what I kind of want you to do with this playlist. I've got a track. It's a 12-bar blues in D, so I'm going to have to figure out where D is on the neck. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through 3 times around a 12-bar, incorporating the things that we've looked at. So the first time I'm going to try and just focus on just playing it straight, focusing on the root note of D. Second time through, I'm then going to move the root note around the chords, and the third time through, I'll try and mix a little bit of major and minor mixed together. Okay, so I know I'm in the key of D for this backing track, and I'll put the excerpt of this backing track on the end of this, and it will also be in the playlist that I'm going to provide you with as well. So I'm in the key of D. So the first thing I want to do is I want to locate the D note on the D string. Well, I know I've got an open one here, but I've also got one here at the 12th fret, because in the last lesson we knew that everything of the open strings, that's all duplicated at the 12th fret. So I can find my root note here. It means I've got some notes around there that I can use. And because I know where I am there, I can also locate my D note on the bottom E string, and on the top E string as well, because they're duplicated, which tells me where my D minor box position 1 is. And if I know where D minor box position 1 is, I can also know pretty much where D minor box position 2 is. And because I know my D chord here, I know this is a D note, and I know that that's mirrored right up here. So that's my D note, so that's my root note. So before I start the backing track, I've just kind of orientated myself to where I'm going to be playing on the neck. I'm going to choose to play in this area here. This is where D box position 1 and 2 are. Remember where my minor pentatonic is. Remember where those major notes are that I can throw in when I want to do that kind of thing as well. Now I'm orientated. I'm going to play the backing track. So I'll play you out with this. I hope you've enjoyed the series so far. Come back in just over a week's time when we pick up on the intermediate level lessons. Okay, see you next time.